In the glittering world of Chinese entertainment, fans are used to unexpected pairings, on-screen chemistry, and behind-the-scenes mysteries. But when it comes to Shu Kai and Tan Songyun, there has always been something different, an unexplainable spark that makes audiences lean forward and believe in every scene they share. Yet, what many don't know is that behind their dazzling smiles and unforgettable collaborations, there was once a legal clause buried deep inside a contract that nearly destroyed their chances of ever working together again. A clause so strict, so calculated, and so dangerous, that it almost sealed the fate of one of China's most adored on-screen duos. It wasn't just paperwork. It was a weapon. And the truth behind it is stranger than fiction. The first whispers started after the wrap-up party of one of their most beloved dramas. Fans had already taken to social media, flooding timelines with edits of their emotional scenes, behind-the-scenes laughter, and even rumors that their bond extended beyond the cameras. The industry noticed too, and not everyone was happy. At that wrap-up party, while most of the cast raised glasses of champagne, Shu Kai stood near the corner, his usual calm demeanor masking a storm of frustration. Tan Songyun, radiant as always, noticed something was wrong. She quietly slipped away from the crowd and approached him. "Why do you look like you just lost a battle?" she teased gently. But Shu Kai didn't smile. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Songyun, they don't want us to work together again." Those words sent a chill through her. "What do you mean?" That was when Shu Kai revealed it, the clause. It all traced back to a contract he had signed with his agency. Hidden in the fine print was a restrictive condition. Shu Kai was forbidden from starring in consecutive projects with the same female lead if the partnership risked overshadowing other future collaborations. In simpler terms, if audiences loved Shu Kai and Tan Songyun too much, the industry gatekeepers had the power to separate them. It sounded absurd, like a plot ripped straight from a drama script. But in the cutthroat world of entertainment, where image and partnerships are carefully managed, such clauses were very real. The clause meant that Shu Kai could be paired with Songyun once, maybe twice, but anything beyond that would require a long, bitter battle with executives who already viewed their growing popularity as dangerous. The revelation shook Tan Songyun. At first, she laughed nervously, thinking Shu Kai was exaggerating. But when he showed her the contract, her smile faded. The words were cold and final, crafted in legal language that left no room for negotiation. "No consecutive pairings," it read. "Risk of overexposure will result in penalty fines, termination, or blacklist." Blacklist. That single word was enough to silence her. In that moment, it wasn't just about acting. It wasn't just about losing an on-screen partner. It was about how fragile everything they built together could be destroyed by one hidden sentence in a contract. But Shu Kai wasn't someone to surrender easily. His eyes carried a fire, the kind that came from years of fighting for every role, every chance, every recognition. "Then we'll fight it," he whispered to her. "They can't stop what the audience wants." What followed was a storm no one outside the industry could imagine. Behind the glittering lights, Shu Kai's team clashed with executives in tense meetings that stretched for hours. Tan Songyun, though technically free of the clause, found herself dragged into the conflict. Whispers of her being difficult, of her manipulating partnerships, swirled like poison in the air. Every time they met, whether at award shows or casual events, the tension was there. The unspoken question, will this be the last time? Then came the night of the award ceremony. Both Shu Kai and Tan Songyun had been nominated for their performances, and though the cameras showed smiling faces, backstage told a different story. Shu Kai was pacing. His manager had just informed him that if he mentioned Tan Songyun in his acceptance speech or hinted at wanting to work with her again, there would be consequences. Tan Songyun overheard. She didn't hesitate. She stormed up to him, grabbed his arm, and pulled him into a quiet hallway. "Don't do it," she urged. "Don't risk everything because of me." But Shu Kai's jaw tightened. "You think I'll stand there, accept an award, and pretend you don't exist? That everything we built together didn't matter?" Her eyes glistened. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The distance between them was filled with unsaid words, with the weight of a bond no contract could measure. When Shu Kai walked onto that stage, the room held its breath. He thanked his family, his agency, his fans, And then, against all warnings, he looked directly into the camera. And to the one person who made every scene real, Tan Songyun, "This is yours as much as it is mine." The crowd erupted. The audience at home screamed. And backstage, executives seethed. That single sentence wasn't just rebellion. It was war. In the weeks that followed, the entertainment industry buzzed with speculation. Was Shu Kai about to be punished? Would his career take a hit? Would Tan Songyun be dragged down with him? Yet, something unexpected happened. The fans, the millions of voices who adored their pairing, rose up. Hashtags trended. Petitions circulated. Fans demanded to see them together again. The louder the public cried, the harder it became for executives to enforce the clause. The clause that was supposed to silence them had, ironically, amplified them. But the true breaking point came during the negotiation for a high-budget historical drama. The producers wanted Shu Kai as the male lead, and after months of searching, they realized only one actress could balance his intensity, Tan Songyun. The executives tried to block it. The clause was thrown on the table like a weapon. Shu Kai's team countered with fan statistics, global interest, and projected profits. Every meeting felt like a battlefield. Finally, the producers issued an ultimatum: it's Shu Kai and Tan Songyun, or no Shu Kai at all. That was the checkmate move. The executives folded. The clause, once unshakable, was quietly erased. The day the news broke, fans went wild. Social media exploded with joy. Edits resurfaced, old interviews replayed, and fan fiction flooded timelines. It wasn't just about another drama, it was about victory. But what fans never saw was the private moment between Shu Kai and Tan Songyun after the decision was finalized. They met in a quiet tea house, away from the flash of cameras. When she arrived, Shu Kai was already there, waiting, a small smile playing on his lips. "So," she teased, sitting across from him, "we won?" He leaned forward, eyes warm but determined. "No, Songyun. We survived." And with that, the weight of months of fear, doubt, and resistance melted away. Their next collaboration was unlike anything audiences had seen before. Every glance, every word, carried the weight of their real-life struggle. Fans could feel it, an authenticity that no scriptwriter could invent. It wasn't just acting anymore. It was defiance, resilience, and triumph etched into every frame. Behind the glitz and glamour, Shu Kai and Tan Songyun had stared down a clause designed to separate them. And they had emerged not only as stronger artists but as symbols of how even in an industry bound by contracts and power games, the bond between two people and the will of the fans could rewrite the rules. The clause almost stopped them. Almost. But some stories are too powerful to silence. And the story of Shu Kai and Tan Songyun is one of them. The story of Shu Kai and Tan Songyun's blocked collaboration is more than just an entertainment rumor, it is a tale of hidden clauses, behind-the-scenes manipulation, and the silent war between two artists' determination and the controlling grip of the industry. When Shu Kai first revealed the clause to Tan Songyun at that wrap-up party, she couldn't believe it. The words "no consecutive collaborations" sounded like a punishment for doing too well. But as he laid the contract before her, every detail became chillingly clear. The clause was written not just to protect his career from overexposure, it was crafted to control him, to ensure that no on-screen chemistry became bigger than the agency itself. Imagine standing in a buzzing party hall, music playing, laughter echoing, glasses clinking, and yet, in that corner, Shu Kai and Tan Songyun were frozen in silence. The air around them shifted as if the whole world outside that conversation blurred into nothing. Shu Kai's voice had been low, almost bitter. "They're afraid of us, Songyun. Not because we're bad, but because we're too good together." Those words hit her harder than the flashing cameras ever could. The more she thought about it, the more the reality sank in. If she said yes to another project with Shu Kai, his entire career could be jeopardized. He could be fined, his future projects cancelled, even blacklisted by the same executives who once praised him. The word blacklist haunted her like an echo. But Tan Songyun wasn't one to accept defeat quietly. That night, when she returned home, she scrolled through fan pages, edits, and clips of her and Shu Kai together. The love from fans was undeniable, it was explosive, unstoppable. Millions of people couldn't get enough of their partnership. Could a single piece of paper really silence that kind of demand? The days that followed were filled with hidden tension. On the surface, both Shu Kai and Tan Songyun smiled for the cameras, attended events, and carried themselves like professionals. But privately, the clause became an unspoken wall between them. Every time a new project was announced, fans begged for their reunion. Social media trended hashtags, pairing their names together, flooding producers' inboxes. Behind those screens, however, Shu Kai was reminded daily of the threat. His manager whispered it before every meeting. "Remember the clause. Don't mention her. Don't push this." But Shu Kai couldn't silence his frustration. In private, he scribbled notes, angry letters never sent, and journal entries filled with determination to fight back. He wasn't just an actor trapped by fine print, he was a man who knew that something real existed in his partnership with Tan Songyun, something worth risking everything for. The breaking point came one evening at a private dinner hosted by a producer. Shu Kai attended with his management team, while Tan Songyun was invited separately. The atmosphere was tense from the moment they arrived. Producers smiled, glasses of wine clinked, but under the polished surface, every word carried weight. Midway through the dinner, the conversation shifted to casting. Someone casually mentioned how perfect Shu Kai and Tan Songyun had been in their last project. The table chuckled, praising their chemistry. But then, like a shadow falling across the room, one executive cleared his throat. "That pairing won't be happening again. The contract is clear." The table went silent. Shu Kai's hands tightened around his glass. Songyun lowered her gaze, trying to hide the storm building inside her. The words felt like a cage snapping shut. But Shu Kai didn't stay silent. Slowly, he placed the glass down, leaned back, and said with sharp clarity, "Contracts can be rewritten." The entire table froze. No one dared to reply. It was reckless, defiant, but it was the first spark of open rebellion. What followed in the weeks after became a secret war. Shu Kai's lawyers combed through the contract, searching for loopholes. His team met with executives, arguing with numbers, showing how fans' love for the pairing wasn't a weakness but the strongest weapon they had. Meanwhile, Tan Songyun fought her own battle. She began subtly dropping hints in interviews, carefully chosen words that wouldn't break the rules but kept the idea alive. When reporters asked who she wanted to collaborate with again, she smiled, paused just long enough, and said, "Well, sometimes magic happens when you least expect it. And some partnerships deserve a second chance." Fans picked it up immediately. The fire spread. But the industry is not kind to rebels. Rumors began to circulate, whispers that Tan Songyun was too controlling, that Shu Kai was difficult. Articles popped up overnight, painting their insistence to work together as arrogance. It was a classic move. If they couldn't control them quietly, they'd try to destroy them publicly. Still, neither of them gave in. And then came the night of the award ceremony. Shu Kai's warning had been clear, no mention of Tan Songyun on stage, or risk everything. But when his name was called and he walked to the podium, he could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He glanced at the crowd, saw the fans holding banners, saw Tan Songyun's face glowing in the audience. He knew what he had to do. His speech started polite, careful. But then, with a steady voice, he broke the chain. "And to the one person who made every scene come alive, Tan Songyun, this isn't just my award. It's ours." The room exploded. Cameras flashed. Fans screamed. Songyun's eyes widened, shining with tears. She quickly blinked away. Backstage, the executive's fury was palpable. Phones buzzed, managers panicked, and whispers spread like wildfire. Shu Kai had crossed the line. But it was too late. The words were out. The audience had heard. The fans had witnessed it. The world now knew that no contract clause could erase the truth of their bond. That one moment shifted everything. The clause that was meant to silence them only made their connection louder. Fans flooded social media, defending them, demanding their reunion. The pressure became unbearable for the executives. The industry thought it could bury Shu Kai and Tan Songyun with paper and ink. But what they didn't count on was the force of millions of voices rising together, refusing to let a hidden clause decide the fate of two stars who were meant to shine side by side. It was no longer about a contract. It was about survival, defiance, and rewriting destiny. The clause had almost stopped them. Almost. But in that moment, on that stage, with those words, it became clear, Shu Kai and Tan Songyun's story wasn't just about acting. It was about fighting for freedom, for truth, and for the kind of connection no piece of paper could ever destroy. And that, perhaps, is why their story still lingers like a legend, because it reminds everyone watching that sometimes the greatest battles aren't fought on screen, but behind the curtain, where the world isn't supposed to see. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories from the world of your favorite stars. Your support means everything.